Spirituality is all good until it's not. I was listening to one of my most favorite tarot readers this morning because I'm not feeling so great. I have no friends or family who aren't going through their own shit right now, who can stop and give me a pep talk to lift my spirits. So tarot is the friend I turn to when the light dims in my life. Why is the light dimming if I'm so into spirituality, you might ask? Doesn't the universe bring you everything you need to get through the hard times? Why, yes. Yes, it does. Just not in the way we expect. As I was listening to the tarot reading, I saw that someone had commented on the video saying that they were done and over this spiritual stuff. They had finally cracked. They tried following God all their life, being a good person, doing the right things, looking at the brighter side of life, but it's been too much. They haven't experienced any of the good that the spiritual community talks about. All the good that they've done hasn't been returned, and all that holds them together now is rage. I empathized with this person immediately because I know what it feels like. I've been through it, and I too thought I had finally made it through to the other side. But lately, I haven't been feeling so great myself. I noticed a lot of people had replied to them, doing their best to lift this person's spirits, but because it's a tarot community, we're all spiritual here. And they chose to advise this person with all the spiritual terms and techniques that they have learned to get them through the dark times. Saying things like, it's important to feel your feelings entirely, even anger, because if we don't, they get stuck and turn into sickness and disease. It's heavy. Stay strong. Don't let them distract you from peace, joy, and unconditional love. Don't let this world shape you. Miserable souls hate to see joyful spirits. And my favorite, let go and let God. Gotta forgive. Let ego go. And so on. I felt less comforted by these replies, so I have no doubt they did too. And as I laid there thinking about all this spiritual mumbo-jumbo, I wondered what physical actions we could take to lift our own spirits. I know from experience that when I'm feeling this low, it makes me angry to hear spiritual advice from the spiritual communities. I've thought about why this is, and I feel it has everything to do with vibrational frequency. When we are vibrating as low as the emotions of anger and sadness, it's near impossible to feel spirit or God, spirit guides, angels, or what have you. Because the universal law of vibration states that what we align our vibration with is what we experience. If you feel good, you'll attract feel-good things into your reality. If you feel bad, those feel-good things cannot come to you based on the law of attraction. This is not just spirituality. This is science. Like attracts like. But if you believe these beings exist, then you believe they exist in the higher realms. Higher meaning vibrationally. Spirituality teaches us to practice being high vibrational so that we can experience feeling good in our own creations. And we are taught not to lower our vibration for others because it's unhelpful to ourselves and them. If we jump in the water with a bunch of drowning people to save them, they will likely pull us down and drown us and themselves in their panic. So knowing this, I wouldn't expect any higher being to lower their vibration to meet me where I am. If I want to experience feeling good, or spirit, then I must find a way to raise my own vibration. Spirit cannot save us from drowning in our sorrows. We can be shown a way out. We can be given a sign to help us remember how to save ourselves, but it is up to us to act. This raising of our vibrations does not have to be categorized as spiritual. If these beings do exist to help guide us, then this means they are not of the 3D Earth realm. If they are not of the 3D Earth realm, then why would they be part of any specific 3D category like spirituality? This is where humans get all mixed up. The spiritual community is indeed placing the solutions to our problems into one giant category called spirituality, and this creates codependency. It reminds me of something we've already done. Oh yeah, religion. The truth is, we are spiritual beings too, but unlike spirit guides, we are also in the 3D Earth realm. We do experience bad days and hard times regardless of how dedicated we are to our spiritual side, because we are physical beings too. There is no one way, no right or wrong way, and no better than anyone else for those of us who connect to our spiritual side. I've noticed that the physical side of spirituality gets very neglected by the spiritual communities. All the advice is to turn inwards and to own our way out of grief. And this is because in our past, we neglected our spiritual side. There is a balance that needs to be kept regardless of who you are or what you follow. My spiritual side is well developed because I've dedicated the past 5 years to cultivating this side of me, and I believe I've accomplished what I set out to do, which was to heal from my past so that I could be in my present and create the future that I want to create. In this process of being in the present and dreaming about my future, I also must take action towards creating it. This action is very physical, and for anyone who's dedicated 5+ years in developing their spiritual side, the physical part might not come so easily. And when it doesn't, we tend to get real down in the dumps about where we are headed, because it certainly doesn't feel like the future we imagined. So what now? So now, I take my own advice and document the process. I'll be the lab rat for the advice I'm dishing out. I have my theories, but I don't have the experience. Since I'm just setting out on this new to me physical journey, this advice isn't easy for me to follow either. I'll bring you along, and we can experience together if this is indeed truth. So the first thing I did was sit up. And rather than trying to escape from the grief of what me and my unnamed friend in the tarot comments were experiencing, I chose to view this grief as a physical need for something, not a spiritual one. What physical thing could I do to raise my vibration? Well, I'm not feeling good. I have a cold and my head feels like a liquid-filled balloon. My throat is sore and my body is achy. I know physical movement helps to get the fluids moving, along with drinking lots of water. I know that a nice shower would help me, but I can't move right now. I'm in too much pain, so what can I do? I normally meditate every morning, but it felt impossible to do today. Before my daily meditations, I normally do a 15-minute guided breathing exercise. This action quickly pumps oxygen into my blood, which creates space in between thoughts and emotions. It makes meditation practice so much more pleasant. I physically, mentally, and emotionally feel better after breath work. So rather than focusing on my end goal of meditation, I focused on my present goal of pumping oxygen into my head and body. Immediately, the pressure in my head subsided. My nervous system relaxed, automatically easing the tension in my neck and shoulders. My ears unclogged and my sinuses opened. Now I had room in my head to just be. I wasn't overwhelmed by the pressure in my head and ears anymore, or the aches and pains, and I found myself meditating without realizing it. My goal was to meditate. I didn't see how, but I took one action in making myself feel better, which led to my goal. It was in this meditation that all this information came to me. I learned a lot in the quiet of spiritual silence when I connected to my physical body. I found a balance. This sudden shift into the physical has happened within me almost suddenly. It feels like overnight I went from life being super spiritual to now sort of being trained in becoming super physical and learning how to connect the two. And I gotta say, it's extremely uncomfortable for me. I literally had to stop and cry for a minute after typing this, because the thought of it makes me want to escape my body. These dreadful emotions took me back to feeling the emotions from what my friend in the comments was saying. They feel like they've been abandoned by spirit. They did everything right, but there's no reward for being good. I too feel like a baby bird that just got pushed out of my nest. I don't feel ready to take all this action and responsibility for making my dreams come true. I heard some advice in the tarot reading I watched for me to make an extra effort in being out in nature right now. This will help me the most in feeling better. I want to feel better. So I took this advice and I chose to crawl out of my bed and onto my patio swing and soak up some sun while breathing in some fresh air and watching the birds. As I watched them, I thought, God, how I wish I could be as free as a bird. They're lucky they don't have to deal with all this human shit. I got real sad and hung my head and started to feel sorry for myself. And as I looked down, I noticed a teeny tiny bug moving across the ground. He was moving faster than an ant, and he was 3 times smaller. As I watched him, I realized that birds don't have it easy, and neither does this bug. I watched a hawk in the sky the other day, circling the sky and hunting the trees for nests full of baby birds to feast on. I see this tiny bug working its little life away. The tarot was right. Nature did help me the most. She helped me to see the truth. The difference between nature and humans is thought. The birds and bugs have it hard, but thought would make it so much harder. They exist as they are, and in the present they are in. This little bug wasn't drowning in his sorrows thinking about how hard his life is. The bird wasn't flying around thinking about the hawk from the other day. They were just present. This is where our human suffering lies, just like Buddha taught. The suffering from the fear and grief I'm feeling for having to now take action to make my dream future a reality is coming from my thoughts, not my present moment. At the time of my realization, I was sitting on my patio swing, in the sun and fresh air, not working, not studying, not tending to my children's wants or needs, not cleaning or cooking, just sitting and suffering because of my own thoughts when I didn't have to. I could just be in my present moment. So I did. And wouldn't you know it, my vibrations rose so much that I was inspired to write about it. It fueled me enough to create something. This is spirituality. Being present with spirit and the nature of the moment, and there is no right way to do it. I didn't see any number synchronicities or hear a voice telling me to look at the tiny bug and why. But by simply being present, I noticed something that taught me something. It could have come from spirit or from Gaia herself. Who or what it came from isn't as important as what the moment taught me. We fear that moment that we'll need to take action because we are so focused on the outcome of the future event. Our fear and doubt creates the delay in taking action, which delays the outcome. Sometimes the action needed is to simply go outside and get some fresh air, without any distractions. Had my focus been on writing a piece for a video, I probably wouldn't have been able to create this. The action I took was choosing to go outside and be present with nature. Being present stopped my thinking, which created the scenario, the inspiration, and the energy for creating. And I didn't even know I wanted to create it. Experiencing this for myself taught me exactly what action I need to take. Being present in the moment alone will create the energy I need to create more action, minus the stress, minus the fear, minus the doubt. In my last video, I talked about the eclipses and what this meant for me. The message I received was that the floodgates of energy would be forced open. My once calm, steady stream of energy would now become a raging river. I didn't understand how this would apply to or impact my life when I wrote that, and I felt a lot of fear around this unknown. Now I'm starting to get a better understanding, and yet the fear is still patiently waiting for me to embrace it, whispering to me that it's okay to self-sabotage because it's familiar, and to stop the scary raging flow that's coming. Like any flood, I could try, but I don't think I'd succeed. So what does this mean? It means I have to go with the flow and experience where it takes me. I could do it fighting my way upstream like I did in my past, but the river still brought me here to where I am now, and I gotta say it's not all bad. It has its moments, sure, but there's a lot of good too, like being able to watch the tiny bug and the birds in the sunshine and breathe in fresh air. Maybe this river is taking me somewhere even better. I choose to dream it is, but I know it requires a balance of physical action on my part. Spirit will guide me, like always. just not in the way that the spiritual communities say it will. Because like me, spirit has no label, no category, no box to be placed in. Spirit is free to be whatever and wherever we need it to be to help guide us to where we need to go. And it doesn't have to tell us it's doing its part. We need to do our part as well, and that is to find the balance in working with spirit, some spiritual, some physical, and trust in ourselves enough to let go. I dedicate this to my friend in the comments who is fed up and frustrated. I hope this information finds you well one day. Peace and love.